Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where we are all about empowering women to live a financially free and balanced life. And we do 2 episodes a week. So please make sure you're tuning in for both. We do a mini-sode and we do a full-length interview with rockstar, badass women doing some amazing, amazing things. So this is all about our mini-sode, right, Andressa? So we like to get to it as quickly as we can.
Exactly. It's just like when you're cooking jelly. Bad example because I don't cook. And that
cooking jelly. All right. I got a visual. Cooking jelly.
And you reduce the sauce. This is it. This is what the mini-sode is all about.
So if you're cooking jelly, you got to reduce it. It doesn't matter what you're cooking, right? I love you, Andressa. I really do.
They get reduced, don't they?
Yes, they do. So,
right?
And that's all they needed to know. Okie dokie. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about building out-of-state teams with confidence. It can be really scary. I don't need to tell all of you wonderful women listening, and men, because we know men like our show too. Yeah. So spread the good word about our podcast. But we know how scary and overwhelming it could be investing out of state. I've done it. And it could be really overwhelming because you just can't control things the way you normally would control if everything's in your backyard. And just give you a quick context for those who are new to learning about me and you, Andressa. My husband and I invested for 10 years locally. We had a rule. We would never invest out of 30-minute radius of our home. And that was a hard and fast rule. And then we broke that rule and went an hour and a half away from our home. And then we broke that rule multiple times since investing out of state in various markets in the Southeast, because it just made sense to do that for our business and our investing. So as I give you these tips, this is kind of firsthand of what we did and things we did well and things we could have done differently. So number one, there's 3 things I want you to take away from this episode. And with all of our mini-sodes, we always encourage you to take one action as a result, because anything you listen to, any content you consume, we want you to be entertained. We want this to be easy to listen to. But the other thing Andressa and I we stand for all of you is to take action. One thing, we always say, move the needle forward. It's not like, write a book in a day, but start writing. Take a half hour to write your ideas down. I'm giving you an example of something to come. Very exciting. But anyway, building an out-of-state team. So let's get to the 3 buckets. Number 1 is your core team. Number 2 is just general team kind of members. And then number 3 is you and some skill sets you need to have. So I'm going to go through each of those things. Building an out-of-state team. I always say core team because if you have a partner, that's your core team, right? You're talking to them multiple times a week or once a week. They're your kind of core, right? That's not like this accountant necessarily, although an accountant is an important team member, but it's like your core team. And really, when you think about it, building out-of-state deals are one of you, or do you have a team member focused on finding deals? That becomes really important. If you're not local, even if you're local, acquisition, if you will, fancy way of finding deals, it becomes a critical role, a critical action. Do you have people? Do you have a process? Do you have a system? Do you have something in place that's helping you source deals? Investor-friendly agents could be a great resource, for that, right, Andressa?
Indeed, but they don't come around saying like, hey, I am an investor-friendly agent. Right. Asking questions, if they invest, if they work with investors, and really getting to know them from that standpoint is really critical.
Yep, absolutely. So finding deals is an enormous kind of, if you call, focus, whether, and again, it's core team, it's also general team members, wholesalers, the local property management companies are great at sourcing deals. Actually, we bought a property from our property management company that we're working with recently. You don't think about that as a source. That local attorney, that local accountant, if they're well connected, they know what's going on in the community. And we bought a flip from our attorney, not from our attorney, but we heard about it from our attorney, I should say. So again, it's all creative ways, but do you have that local, if you're looking in Georgia, you're looking at Atlanta, you're looking at Atlanta, do you have a local team? Have you built a local team, and how do you do that? It starts with one rock star professional. And again, if that's a core team member or a general team member, you can determine that as you grow your team. But I want to get you that in your consciousness, because I think that helps with communication and staying in touch and all those sort of things. But regardless, finding deals and finding that team member, that agent, if you will. And if you're looking for 10 plus deals, don't be talking to residential agents. You got to talk to commercial brokers. Make sure you're talking to the right people for the right sourcing of deals you're looking for. Again, number one. Yeah.
I want to highlight what you're saying, because I think that's the key to a lot of things. Like, why do you think it's important to find one rock star, like focusing on finding that rock star person?
Like a stellar person, not even like an average person or even a great person. But if you find someone who's like stellar, they're going to have other people in their network that are stellar. I think that's the biggest thing. So it's like it's the easiest path, right? To getting that full team, especially out of state. Because if you're talking to an agent who's they're going to have other people in their circle. They're going to have the contractor. They're going to have the title company. But typically, if they're stellar, they don't associate with average people. Typically, I could be wrong, but that's why finding that rock star person opens the gates of other people and other people that they know, because they're putting their reputation online. If a stellar person gives you someone, they're not going to just give you someone to give, because it's going to reflect back on them. They know that. So that's why it's in their best interest to give you great people, because they feel like they're giving great service. They want them to give great service. So that's probably one of the biggest things you need to have as you're building that out-of-state team. But I want to talk through the next stage is that structuring the deal. So financially, do you have to talk to a local bank, creative financing, your private money lenders? How are you going to stay in touch with them? These are all team members to structure the deal and to get to closing. Title company typically comes from the agent, but it all stems from that really great agent that could be helping you. So that structuring the deal is the other bucket that you're going to need team members for out of state. And sometimes they come from, that one source, and sometimes you may need to find them yourself. That's why we love our community. We selfishly love our community, because we're building a global community that you can start to tap into the local meetup. Hey, who are you working with on title? Who are you working with as a local bank? I don't know a local bank in Atlanta, but I know who does, because we have a meetup there. And the two ladies that run the meetup there are rock stars, just like all of our meetup leaders. So I say that because we need to know who to ask, and we need to know where to get them, a trusted source. The other bucket is then the managing part. That is the biggest problem people have when they're investing out of state. Is it the execution? Close the deal. That's the easy stuff. You close the signing favors, you take a picture, you send it to everybody. Hooray! Well, yeah, now the work begins.
Check on your social media.
Yeah, put it on social media. But here's the deal. And we all know this is when the work begins, and you're not physically there. So let's talk about that for a moment. Again, who is going to be managing your project? Who has a motivation to help you manage it? Who can you on your team can you pay? How do you pay them? Can they be part of it? Could they be a partner with you on equity? Are you paying them a fee? Are you looking for more deals? Are you going to refer them to everyone? What's in it for them? They're just going to drive past your property every day because they have nothing else to do? No. So you have to build that relationship, and you have to think about a win-win, especially from a contractor perspective, from a turning around perspective. You're buying like a gut renovation outside of your area, and it's like if you got an airplane to get to it, you better have someone who you trust and respect to keep an eye on it. And then how often do they keep an eye on it? If you're like, oh, just, make sure you go by there. Specific, measurements are all important during the management piece, which is a whole other topic. But the bottom line here, the key I want you to take away is, who do you need? Who could be on your core team or just general team from a finding deal perspective, from a structuring the deal perspective, and then thirdly, managing the project. If you think of those three buckets and you think about who I need to help me with that, and some of them can help you in all three buckets, then you're on the right path. Property management companies, great stellar agents, the stellar attorney who knows everyone. Those kinds of people open up the gates to other contractors, title companies, and everyone else you may need. Lastly, it's all about you. If you are a poor communicator, if you are a poor relationship builder, if you're someone who's like, I'll just set it and forget it kind of person, it's really hard to manage things outside of your area. This is going to take you to step up and say, okay, what is the communication, going to look like? How often do I need to communicate with these people? Because the last thing you want is to get frustrated and for something to go wrong and you're not there. So I just say that because it has a lot to do with us. And we don't often think that. We blame the contractor who's, in Atlanta that we're not, no, it's not their fault. It all starts with you. You take 100% responsibility. Hate to tell you, but you have to look at yourself. If you're not ready to step up your communication game and your relationship building game and your leadership, then you may not be able to build out of state because it takes those skills. It takes that kind of like all in, this is who I am and this is how I need to lead. And this is not working. Here's the repercussions. Let's figure it out, or let's cut bait here. You got to move quickly. This is not like it's in your backyard and you don't want it. So,
and I want to follow up on the who. I want to talk about Sarah Weaver. She's been in 42 countries and built her portfolio out of state. So when you think about learning all of those, right? There's so many pieces here. And for a lot of people that are trying to figure out out-of-state investing by themselves, it might be overwhelming. I am a big fan of learning from people who already walk the walk. And so, Sarah Weaver is going to be running a pod, which is a mentorship, a 6-month mentorship pod on our investor community. We open the doors for our membership twice a year. So if you're not on our waiting list to know when we're doing that, please go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com/membership to check it out. Thank you so much for listening. Please listen all over again to digest, take notes, and move the needle forward. That's the goal.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.